Hello there, welcome or welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Samantha and this is my channel where I talk all about books. Anyway, today I'm coming to you with episode 8 of TBR Tackle. If you don't know what TBR Tackle is, I will link the whole playlist down below for you to go check out, but lots of people have done this. I've been doing this all year, and it's essentially a video series where I'm trying to read all of the books on my physical TBR, although in the last episode, we did in fact curate the list a little bit because it was not going to happen. It wasn't going to happen by the end of the year, and there were a lot of books on there that were nonfiction or sequels in a series that I hadn't even started, so it was just like unrealistic. So we did narrow down the TBR a little bit and curate it, and so for this episode we are starting with 7 books on the physical TBR, and we've got 3 episodes left, including this one, so I think it's gonna happen. I have been putting this episode off because in this episode we're going to be reading books that I have been putting off. So these are books that have been on my TBR for a while, some of them for longer than others, and for various reasons I have just been avoiding them and not reading them and putting them off. So as usual, we're going to be reading 3 books in this video, and these are 3 books that have been on my TBR for at least 2 years. So out of these 3, the one that's been on my TBR the longest is Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. I bought this in 2020, I pre-ordered it, and I have been putting this one off because I was like, I want to reread The Mortal Instruments because I think there was a read-along for that, so I was rereading that, and then I wanted to reread The Infernal Devices because this follows the children of some of the characters from The Infernal Devices. And I think I finished my reread of The Infernal Devices in 2023. I still had not started this. So yeah, we're gonna be starting with this one actually, and I've actually already started it. And then in July 2023, I went book shopping with my friend, and this book was jumping out at me. I think this book has been on my radar for 4 years, and I've actually owned it for 2 years, and I've been kind of putting it off because I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people say it's really boring, but I think it sounds good. So yeah, this is another one that I'm going to be reading in this video. I'll cover the plot once we get to it. And then another one that I got in 2023 because we were getting rid of it at the library that I worked at and I snatched it up is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I do not read a ton of classics, although saying that, I have read all of Jane Austen's books in this year. So yeah, I'm pretty caught up with my classics for the year. But yeah, I've never read Little Women. I've seen the movie, the like newer one. I don't really remember what happened. I think I know some spoilers because of it being referenced in other pop culture, but yeah, I've never read it, so I feel like I should. And again, I've had this one for 2 years on my TBR, and I have not once touched it. So yeah, these are the 3 books that I'm going to be reading in this video. But yeah, like I said, I actually started reading Chain of Gold last night. I've got it on audio from the library as well as the physical book, obviously. And I made it to chapter 3, which is page 72, because something that Cassandra Clare loves to do is have really long chapters, which I don't love, but I'm actually really enjoying this so far. I tried to read a book by Cassandra Clare earlier this year, which was Swordcatcher, and I had to DNF it, and I think that's the first time I've ever DNF'd a Cassandra Clare book because I love all of the Shadowhunter stuff. I don't know if it's like the nostalgia factor or what, but so far I'm really enjoying this. We're following a bunch of teenage characters. They're like in their mid to late teens in London in the early 1900s, I believe. Like I said, they're the offspring of characters that we've met in the Infernal Devices series. Yeah, I don't really know what the whole plot of this is, but I've also recently been watching Bridgerton for the first time, and it's not that it's the same because it's like a different time period, but like some of the young ladies are about to like come out in society, so like in that way it's giving me a little bit of some Bridgerton vibes, but obviously not nearly as sexy as Bridgerton because they're children. And there's like a little bit of miscommunication at the moment because basically one of the characters we're following is Cordelia Carstairs, and she is kind of in love with James Herondale, and her best friend is Lucy Herondale, and they're brother and sister. And James is currently kind of lovesick with a girl who is not currently living in London but who's about to come to London, and Cordelia has just arrived in London. So there's a bit of confusion there about like, is he in love with Cordelia or is it somebody else? Who knows? I'm excited. I'm excited but a little bit nervous, and I've heard that the last book in the series is not very good, but I'm gonna try not to think that far ahead and just like enjoy this one while I'm in it. So yeah, like I said, I've got the audio as well. And last night I was sort of immersion reading, so listening and reading along at the same time. But hopefully once I get into it a bit and like remember who all the characters are, then I can listen to the audio while doing other things. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this one so far. I mean, it's early days, but I'm having a good time. And then, yeah, I will obviously get to these ones at some point. But I am currently on my lunch break at work and I've got to go back to work now. So I will just chat to you once I have read some more of this and have some more thoughts for you. Welcome to the blog and I'll see you later. Hello, good morning. It's Tuesday. I'm working from home today, obviously. Well, I say that, but you don't know what time it is. But it's almost 9 a.m., so I would have to be well on my way if I was going to the office. But I'm working from home today, which is good because I actually don't feel 100%. I don't know what's going on. I woke up just feeling a bit off and it's not gone away. So I'm gonna see how things go today. But yeah, that's annoying. I also had to get up slightly earlier than I was intending, which was not ideal, but it's fine. It meant I had some extra reading time. So I just listened to the audiobook, Chain of Gold, and I was working on my cross stitch while I did that. I've been working on this owl since April, I think, and it is so intricate. Like there are so many little squares that I have to do, whereas in the other one, the last one I did, they were bigger chunks. So it was still time consuming because this is just a time consuming hobby, but it didn't take as much time as this because this one I have to be careful because it's quite intricate. But I'd say I'm probably maybe 2/3 to 3/4 of the way done. Yeah, it's great that I have this because I can listen to audiobooks while I do that, because I think once I finish this one I might have to jump straight into the next book, and I hope that my library has the audiobook because yeah, I don't own it and I could buy it and I might collect the series after the fact. But I'm enjoying this so much, which I don't know why I'm surprised because it's a Shadowhunter book from Cassandra Clare. Like they pretty much always hit. But yeah, I obviously tried to read Swordcatcher earlier this year and did not have a great time with it. I DNF'd it about halfway through. I was a little bit nervous going into this one, and also just because it's been so long. I literally bought this in 2020. I'm only just now getting to it. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I feel like I mentioned that like I felt like I had a little bit of a Bridgerton vibe in like the propriety and like the balls and going to picnics and stuff like that. But obviously demon activity has really ramped up, so it's not so much like that anymore. Although Cordelia, who I think is about 16 or maybe 17, is like trying to find a husband to like save her family's reputation. So like in that aspect, it is sort of similar. I feel like I know who the potential couples are going to be, and I'm pretty excited about that. I mean, like it's pretty obvious, but yeah, I am excited to see how that all pans out. I only have about 130 pages left, so I envision finishing this today, to be honest, because I've got the audiobook. Alex is staying at his parents' house today because he has a doctor's appointment tomorrow and they live right near the hospital, so he is just staying the night there because his appointment's at like 9 a.m. So yeah, he's staying the night there and I'm gonna have a very chill evening by myself. So I'm probably gonna stick in my AirPods later and try and bash out some more of my cross stitch as well. Oh, also, I feel like if you've read a Shadowhunter book, you know who Magnus Bane is, and he has entered the building and I'm so excited. He hasn't had a massive role so far, obviously, but we have seen him and I was like, where's Magnus? Like, I love Magnus. I feel like Magnus is like in a similar way to like Selena Sardothien. He's over the top. His character is a little bit too much, but he's just so lovable that like I just love him. I love him, and I think it's partially like the nostalgia because I read the Mortal Instruments / Infernal Devices when I first started my channel, which was like 11 years ago, 11 and a half years ago. So yeah, I feel like those characters are so nostalgic to me, and I love Magnus Bane. So yeah, getting to see him, I'm like, finally. This does sort of feel like, in a way, a little bit of fan service because obviously we're getting glimpses into characters from the Infernal Devices who we know and love, but at the same time, like, it is its own separate story. And it's interesting how it's very different to the Infernal Devices in that, like, I think I spoke about this before, like, they just had like an extended period of like peace, of like barely any demon attacks. So like these children, teenagers, are quite sheltered, and then they're having to like face the reality of like what Will and Tessa and Jem had to go through, although not on a different thing, but you know, yeah, they're experiencing stuff that they hadn't had to experience before. This book also touches on a few different topics, which I feel like Cassandra Clare handles pretty well. I mean, I can't speak to the representation, but yeah, I feel like generally Cassie's pretty good at exploring themes and like introducing teenagers to themes that maybe they haven't really thought about before. But yeah, really enjoying it. I'm just rambling at this point, and I need to go get ready to log on in half an hour. So I will see you later. Like I said, I'm probably going to cross stitch and listen to the audiobook later. Hello, good morning. It's Friday. I'm working from home today, hence the work from home outfit. But yes, it's been a few days since I last spoke to you, and I have in fact finished Chain of Gold. But yeah, like I said, I feel like I don't have anything new to add in terms of my thoughts. I really enjoyed this. I ended up giving it 4.5 because I feel like it's not a new favorite. Like, it can't be a 5-star, but it was really fun. Like, I really enjoyed my time reading it. The only thing I will say was that I felt like the plot got slightly, not repetitive, but like once the demon fighting started, we had quite a few demon fights, and it was always against like the same demon. So it, in that way, was like a little bit familiar, but equally it was always like a slightly different situation. It started a little bit differently, it ended a little bit differently. So yeah, I did have some sort of differences to it. Yeah, really enjoyed this. If you haven't read it, I would recommend it. But I'm assuming if you've read the Shadowhunter books, you're probably all caught up. We finished the first book for this vlog. I'm sorry that it hasn't been super entertaining so far. I have actually started reading something on my Kindle, so I need to finish that first. Then I'll get back to reading for this vlog. So I think I'll probably read Little Women next, just because I feel like I'm reading a lot of fantasy series at the moment. I just want to delay having to absorb new fantasy information, if that makes sense. But yeah, anyway, I am working from home today because it's Friday, so I've got to go and get ready to log on, and I will just update you once I have something interesting to chat to you about, or I've started my next book. Is it time to admit to myself that I'm never going to reread these two books? I don't know. I'm not going to do it. I reread this one a few years ago, and then I never reread this one. And I just don't think it's going to, like, I loved them at the time, but I don't think it's going to happen. But then this one is signed and personalized, so I'm like, I don't want to get rid of that. But then, I don't know. Really interesting concept. I'm going to keep them. I'm going to keep them. Okay, I just finished. I don't like it. I'm so annoyed. I don't like it. I want to go back to how it was. I want to do it by genres. This just feels wrong. Having Press of the Emerald Tea right next to the Purple Blue Radish series, it's wrong. I don't like it. I thought it was gonna give me like bookshop vibes where everything's like mixed together, but I don't like it. So I'm gonna put it back to normal at some point, but who knows when. Hello there, good evening. It is a Friday night. It's actually Halloween. Friday night on a Halloween night. So happy Halloween, although this video will be going up after the fact at some point. But I have some reading updates for you because I have started my next book, which is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. I only started a couple days ago and I've been at work, so I wasn't able to update you before. Although today I actually had the day off. I was supposed to do some plans, but they didn't happen. So I've just been spending the day at home, which has been very nice. But I was trying to read and I just really didn't want to. But firstly, what is this book about? So we're following our main character, Zhu, and essentially Zhu is a young girl living in China in the mid 1300s, and she, her father, and her brother are living in this village, and it's very impoverished, and basically life in this village is very, very tough. But on her brother's birthday, they end up going to a seer, and the seer says that her brother, Zhu Chongba, is going to have a very great life, and for her, he sees nothing, and she is not very happy with that. And then unfortunately her father and her brother both die, and she witnesses this. She decides that she is going to not only survive, but she's going to assume the identity of her brother. She travels to the monastery and tells everyone that she is Zhu Tongba and is able to enter the monastery and become like a novice monk, and so survive through that. And then after a few years, the war has really ramped up, and so she's now having to leave the monastery and deal with the war that's going on. That's kind of like where I'm at. That's like most of what's happened so far. I'm on page 115. I'm a little bit over a quarter of the way through. I am really struggling with this. I am not really a fan of the writing style, to be honest. I'm finding the writing to be quite dull, and also I'm just like not retaining it. I'm like reading the words, but they're not going in. No matter how many times I read them, I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. And then also, I think another issue I'm having is like, I just don't really like the characters very much. Like, I don't feel like I understand their motivations. Like, Zhu is so intent on being great, and I'm like, okay, but why? Like, where has this come from? Like, I kind of know because of the backstory. Like, she grew up in a village where like women were just not respected whatsoever. Like all of the daughters had died already by the time that she left the village because the sons were prioritized for the food. So yeah, they like let their daughters die. So obviously like kind of stems from that. Yeah, just like in terms of Zhu's actual character, I don't really understand motivation so much, and I just don't really feel like I know her very well. And we've just been introduced to two other points of view, and one of them is the antagonist of the story, and I'm just like, I really don't want to read from his point of view. I don't think it's necessary. Like in so many books you don't read from the antagonist's point of view and it still works really well. And obviously it's a little bit different, but I want to read from his perspective, and I'm struggling with it. And I've seen some reviews which say like, you know, it doesn't really get better in that regard. Like if you're already struggling with it, it's not like it's suddenly going to get better for you necessarily. Although apparently the last like third of this is really, really good, but I just don't think I can do it. I just don't think I can. I'm like, I don't think this is the book's fault whatsoever. I think it's a well-written book. I think it's a good book. However, I'm just like, I don't know what to, like, I'm struggling. I think I'm battling a reading slump. I feel like I've DNF'd so many things that I thought I was gonna love. I read the new Legends and Lattes book this week, Brigands and Bread Knives, and it was like a 3-star, like a low 3, like a 2.75, because I just struggled so much with it. And like, I don't know what's going on with me, but like, I don't really want to read romance, like just a straight up contemporary romance. I don't want to read it. I don't really want anything super cozy and like low state. Like I want more of a plot, but then this isn't working for me either. So then I'm like, do I want a fantasy? Like, I don't know. I think what I really want is to finish a fantasy series that I've already started, because I feel like it's holding me back from starting new fantasy series or like really getting into them, because I'm like also desperately trying to retain information for other series, if that makes sense. Like, for example, right now I'm like 1 book away from finishing my reread of The Throat Glass, and then I'm also 2 books away from finishing the byeeeee Revelations series, and there are other series that I've started as well, but like those are the 2 that are really on my mind. And I'm like, I kind of just want to finish one or both of those. I like just bought Heir of Navarone, which is the 3rd bind up in the byeeeee Revelation series, and I'm like, I actually just want to read that.
Like, I don't want to read this. But then I don't think I'm ever gonna want to come back to this. So I don't think it's a soft DNF. This is a DNF, unfortunately. But yeah, like I said, I think it's not the book's fault. I think it's partially like my timing for reading this book, and then also just like it's just not working for me. But I feel like a lot of people would really enjoy this, and a lot of people have really enjoyed this. I think maybe I'd like heard reviews that made me feel like it was going to be different than it is. And the actual synopsis on the back of the book is not really like what I was expecting the book to be, even though like that makes sense because it's on the back of the book. But yeah, I think my expectations were just a little bit weird, which is also actually the problem I had with Brigands and Bread Knives, the new Legends and Lattes book, because I thought it was going to be a different plot. So I don't know if I'm going to start Little Women, because I think like that could be a DNF as well if I start it now, because I know that that's not like a super action heavy plot, but I feel like maybe I just need like a chunky fantasy. It's really action packed, because this was not very action packed so far. I feel so bad because I DNF'd in the last video of TBR Tackle as well. So I'm sorry. I hate DNFing. Well, no, I don't, because I don't like to push through if I'm not enjoying it, because I know like most likely it's not going to be a super high rating. I don't like doing it for this video series, because I feel like then it would be so easy for me to be like, oh no, just DNF, 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 and I don't want it to be that. Like, the whole point was to read the books that I bought. If I bought a book 2 years ago and it's taken me this long to get to it, like there's a reason why I've been putting it off. Because I think shortly after I bought it, I then like saw some things that I was like, oh, maybe this isn't going to be for me. And then yeah, this is the problem with like being online and like reviewing books and using Goodreads and stuff like that, is that sometimes I feel like as much as I try to ignore other people's influence, it does sometimes happen. Like, you know, you hear one review and it just sticks with you if you've already like got that book on your radar, or maybe you already own it and then you hear like one negative review, but it's something that like normally doesn't work for you. And so then that sticks in your mind. So then when you're reading it, you can't get that out of your mind. I don't know if that made sense, but I feel like that's a whole other conversation for another day. But yeah, that is, I think, a side effect. Side effect, is that the right word? But I don't know, a casualty of doing book reviews online and reading other people's reviews, is that, yeah, sometimes things stick in your brain and you're like, oh, I think I am going to DNF this. And I did buy some more books, but we're not adding them to TBR Tackle because it's too late in the game. We have like 2 months left because tomorrow is November 1st. So yeah, I'm not adding any more books to the TBR Tackle pool, but I did just buy Soul Searching as well as some other books, but we're not going to talk about that. Yeah, I just bought Soul Searching. Smells like new book, and I was gonna read it today. I was like, I'm gonna have the perfect Halloween day. I made pumpkin scones, and I was like, I'm gonna read this book that's like got ghosts in it but isn't scary. But I don't know if it's the time, you know, like small town cozy romance. I don't think it's the time, which is a shame. But I'm gonna like still obviously probably read it during the winter time and probably soon. But yeah, I think maybe this isn't the one either. I don't know what's going on. I really don't want to be in a reading slump. I really just can't be in a reading slump right now. I've also like really got into hockey. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I love ice hockey. I had never seen it really before until I went to Canada in September, and I went to an NHL preseason game, and I am obsessed. Like, I don't know why I haven't been watching it for the last 26 years of my life, but yeah, I am simply obsessed. And I have 2 teams that I kind of support, which I know doesn't really make sense, but my husband and I just couldn't really decide, because we went to go see the Montreal Canadiens play, and I love the Canadiens. I love the Canadiens. Like, I feel like in my heart of hearts, the Habs are my team. Go Habs go. And yeah, I just like, I love watching them play. I know like a lot more about their team than I do about the other team we support, which is the Pittsburgh Penguins. And we support the Penguins because we love penguins. So yeah, I also love the Penguins, and like also the Penguins and the Canadiens play so differently. So it's really interesting following like 2 different teams. But then equally, if you follow 2 teams, you have like 6 hockey games to watch in a week. And that's crazy. Whereas if we follow 1 team, we have like 2 or 3. So I think we do need to like make a decision, because it's a lot of hockey. But yeah, I'm like not reading as much because in my evenings I'm watching hockey. I never thought those words would be coming out of my mouth. But yeah, and I'm kind of slumpy. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know whether to take a little break from this vlog and come back to you in like a week or what. But yeah, I need to figure some stuff out. I'll come back to you once I've started Little Women. We will read that book, I promise. It's gonna happen. Or do I take a break from this vlog and fully film the next episode and then come back to this one? I don't know, but I will figure it out, and I'll chat to you later. Hello, it's been a while since I last spoke to you. I think it's probably been like over a week. Anyway, I think in the last clip, I was telling you about how I was DNFing She Who Became the Sun. And then also, I think I spoke about how I felt like I was going into a reading slump. Anyway, I think I'm slowly clawing my way out. But I've been looking at my reading goals for the year because I feel like everyone on YouTube at the moment is talking about their reading goals, their plans for the rest of the year. Also, before I continue, I'm like a little bit sick, so if I sound extra nasally today, it's because I'm not feeling 100%, even though I'm like determined not to be. But I haven't really been feeling well since like Wednesday, and every day I tell myself, you're not sick, you can't be sick again. But then I am taking the necessary steps to like make sure this doesn't get worse. Like I'm resting a lot and like I'm just chilling. I'm not trying to do anything extra. But anyway, I'm not sick. I won't allow it. That's also like part of the reason why I haven't been reading a ton is because like I was sick like 2 weeks ago and then sick again. No, I'm not sick. Anyway. But yes, I've been looking at my reading goals and I am 6,000 pages behind on my Storygraph reading goal. On Storygraph, you can set a reading goal in terms of books, in terms of pages, and then also hours. Anyway, I always set all three just for fun. And I'm normally pretty good at meeting my book goal and my hours goal. Normally pretty good because I normally set them to pretty low. But then my pages goal, I don't think I've hit it since I started using Storygraph, which to be fair was only 2 or 3 years ago. Maybe 2 years ago. But regardless, I'm about 6,000 pages behind on my reading goal. I always set it to like the year and then add on like 1,000 to that. Last year was 24,000. This year's 25,000. Next year I'll probably set it to 26,000. Obviously, there's going to become a point where that's just stupid and I should set it to lower anyway. It's like a dream, you know? I want to be reading that many pages, but realistically, it's not going to happen because I tend to pick books that are a bit shorter. This is a lot of rambling for me to get to the freaking point. Okay, the point of this is today I looked at the amount of pages I still have left to read, which is like just under 6,000. Then I looked at how many days left we have in the year, which is scary. It's 53. What the hell? Today's 8th of November. 53 days left. So then I did some simple maths on a calculator and I worked out that I need to be reading 113 pages per day. It's like 112 point something, but we'll round up to 113 in order to meet my goal. So I need to do a lot more damn reading. So basically I'm going to be trying to read at least 100 pages a day. Obviously I know that there are going to be some days where I don't get to read, like Christmas Day. I'm probably not going to read. So I need to account for that. And I'm just trying to read more and be better. Anyway, all that to say, I'm currently reading Soul Searching by Lila Sage, which was not a book that was chosen for this video because even though I bought this, clearly, this is not going towards TBR Tackle because I am not adding any more books that I've bought for the rest of the year. They're not going on to TBR Tackle because it's just pointless. I actually probably should have done that all year, like any books that I acquired. Like, yes, I should still prioritize reading them, but not add them to TBR Tackle. But it's too late. We're at the end of the year. We have 2 more TBR Tackle episodes left to go. So yeah, it's too damn late. This is not going towards TBR Tackle, but I thought because we DNF'd another book, I thought I would just include it because it's like a kind of new release and it kind of fits the season. It's a little bit late. I was planning to read this on Halloween, but it didn't happen. But I did start it the day after, I think. I can't remember, but I'm not super far in. I'm on page 145, so I'm like just under halfway through. And basically this story follows our main characters, Collins and Brady. Collins is a photographer and she's from this town called Sweetwater Peak, but she actually left because she's like, you know, it's too small. There's like no room to grow there. Like you're going to be stagnant. So she wanted to leave and she did leave behind her family, her parents and her twin sister to run the family antique shop. But Collins and Clark, her twin sister, they can see ghosts for some reason, and her parents, at least one of her parents, maybe both, can also see ghosts. And I can't remember if she explained why and I've forgotten, or if she just didn't explain why and we learn later, but either way, I don't know why they can see ghosts, but they can. And they can both also talk to ghosts. But Collins has lost her ability since being away, and then also she's kind of fallen out of love with photography, which is her source of income. So she's down on her luck. She decides to come home because she's run out of money and, you know, she's kind of has to. And then also, at the same time, a developer is trying to buy her parents' antique shop so that they can like knock it down and build something soulless. So Collins decides to come back to town to help out her family and also to try and like figure out what to do about this ghost situation. Like, is she going to be able to communicate with them again? And then also because she doesn't have any money. and she gets the opportunity to live with this guy called Brady, who has a spare room. He has recently moved to town and opened an upholstery business. So obviously he works quite closely with Collins's family because upholstery and antique shop kind of go hand in hand. So yeah, he already knows her family and he's like, hey, I've got this spare room. She can come live with me while she's in town. So they end up having to live together, and obviously they're going to catch feelings along the way and hopefully figure out Collins's ghosty situation. Yeah, it's like kind of a paranormal romance, apart from the fact that neither of the two characters is like a paranormal creature, but there are paranormal aspects. But it's not spooky, which is good. Like, it has good atmosphere, but the ghosts are not like harmful. Like, they're friendly. They're like Casper, you know, Casper the friendly ghost. They're just like, they've always been looking out for her and protecting her and her sister. So it's actually like very sweet. And I don't believe, but also I don't want to know about anyone's supposed encounters because I don't want to know. I don't really believe it, but I also just don't want to hear about it, you know? So please don't tell me. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. But yeah, it's not scary. It's just like sweet. And I have to say, I've gone into this with lowered expectations because I've heard from a lot of people that this is not their favorite Lila Sage book, and that whilst the atmosphere and the town and the side characters are great, the actual romance plotline, a lot of people are not that into. And I can totally see that because right now I don't really feel the chemistry between them. Like, I don't know, I think it's Brady, to be honest. I just feel like he doesn't really have too much of a personality right now. Like, he's supposed to be a little bit mysterious because they're like, why has he come to this town? Like, this town is a place where people leave. Like, people don't come here. So yeah, there's like a little bit of mystery surrounding him, but ultimately like his personality is not really coming through and he's a little bit boring. Like, even Collins like refers to him as boring Brady. I swear that that's been said. So I don't massively feel the chemistry between them right now, and like the romance is not my favorite part, but I am enjoying the vibes and the setting, and I like Lila Sage's writing style, so I'm gonna keep reading it, and this is like my priority. I'm gonna finish this and I read another 100 pages today. I think I read about 50, and so yeah, I'm trying to go over my pages goal for the day, and then I'll actually be like not that far from the end, so who knows, maybe I'll finish it, maybe not. Anyway, and then we will, I promise, get on to Little Women. I just, like, being on a reading slump, I was not in the mood to read something that I feel like is going to be a little bit slow paced. Although on the bright side, like, look at these margins. The margins are kind of crazy. It's a long book. It's like almost 500 pages. No, it's over 500 pages, which is kind of crazy. We'll get to this afterwards, and I feel like I'm in more of a place where I would want to read this, whereas like last week I was like, no. I was like, I don't want this. But since then, I've listened to an entire audiobook. I reread Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir on audio because the movie's coming out next year, like early next year. So I've been meaning to reread it for a while. I realized I had it out from the library and I was gonna have to return it very soon. And the wait for that is crazy. So yeah, I listened to that on audio and I feel like that's helped get me out of my slump. And so yeah, I have an audiobook going, I have this going, and then we will get to this. I promise. A little bonus book for you. I'm currently watching back some sprints, so I'm gonna go continue to do that and read another chunk and read at least another 100 pages of this. So yeah, I'll come back to you when I have any more thoughts. Maybe when I finish the book. I love the covers though. Like, Lila Sage has top tier covers. I'm gonna go get back to reading and then I'm gonna stop talking because I am not feeling great, so talking is not super fun. But yeah, I'm gonna go and I'll chat to you later. Hello friends, it's been a couple hours. I'm still yet to wash my hair. I don't really have an update for you except to say that I'm about 200 pages in now, so I've read about 60 pages since I last spoke to you. I do actually think I might finish this today, to be honest. I feel like I'm in the reading zone. But what I came here to say was, I don't think I've ever mentioned this anywhere, but I love a storm in a book. It's like a micro trope that I love, and I always forget about it, and then it happens, and I'm like, oh, this is the best. I don't know why, but yeah, when there's a storm and the power goes out, and then they've got to light a bunch of candles and there's nothing else to do, and so romantic things happen. And yeah, I feel like I haven't read it in that many books. I think in the second book in the Revolue Ranch series, Swift and Saddled, I think there's a storm. And the only other one that comes to mind is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, which is not my favorite book ever, and not even my favorite Emily Henry book, but there is a storm, the power goes out, And there's just something about it. There's just something about it that I just love to read about. We just got to a storm and the power went out and they've lit all these candles. We're gonna see what could possibly happen during this time while there's no power. I don't know. We're also like 2/3 of the way through the book almost, so I feel like it's time. Things are gonna be happening. I just came on to say that. So if you have any recommendations, books with that trope, with that little micro trope, let me know, because I feel like I don't read it that often. And I have an idea for a romance book. I've been sitting on this idea for like 5 years because I never feel like I'm in the right place to write it. I also just like, I don't know how exactly the story is going to go. And I've changed my mind on this a bunch of times about like plot points. Have I written anything? No. But it's all up in here. And now I'm like, there needs to be a storm. There needs to be a storm. Like, I've got to put a storm in the book somewhere because I love it. I just love it. Like, even if it's not like that intense, it's not a huge plot point, it's just like there's something about it. That's all. That's the chill I came to say. I'm gonna go back to reading. I'm still watching back some sprints. I don't think I'm gonna finish it during those sprints because I don't think I have quite enough time, but I do want to finish this today. I think it's possible. Got like 130 pages to go. Watch this space. Maybe I'll be coming back to tell you I finished. Hello, good afternoon. It's Tuesday and I have some reading updates for you. I'm working from home right now. I'm on my lunch break. I owe you 2 reading updates. So first of all, I finished reading Soul Searching actually last night. I said I was going to finish it on Saturday, but that did not happen. But I annoyingly did not have very much left, so I took it to work with me and read it on my commute. I finished it on my way home last night. And I'm giving this a 3 stars. I did not love this, and I think I probably already touched on everything that I wanted to say, but basically I liked the small town vibes. I liked the family and sort of found family. I liked the town. I liked the setting. I liked the ghost aspect. I wish there was actually more of the ghost aspect. I think that was kind of what I enjoyed the most. But the reason why this is only getting a 3 star is because I didn't like the romance. I didn't feel any chemistry between them at all, to the point where I didn't read the smut scenes because I was like, I just don't care. Like, I don't feel it between you guys. I don't need to read about you guys doing this stuff. So yeah, I didn't actually, like, I skim read it because I was like, it's also on the train, so don't want to read that in public. But anyway, I did enjoy it though, and I will continue on. And actually, with the Rebel Blue Ranch series, which is Lila Sage's first series, I did not really enjoy Done and Dusted. I gave that book 3 stars, although I look back on it so fondly because I did have a good time reading it. It's just not the best book ever. But that series got so much better as it went along. Like, the last 2 books are like 4.5 to 5 stars. Like, I love them. So I have hope that the rest of the series will get better and she'll find her fitting. I don't know how long the series is going to be, if it's only going to be a duology, but I know that the next book is going to follow Collins's twin sister Clark, and I'm quite excited for that. I enjoyed it. 3 stars. I feel like it was kind of the general consensus for that one. I think a lot of people didn't love it. Anyway, and I also started reading Little Women last night, again on my train home, and I'm kind of listening to the audiobook and reading along. And actually, like, this morning I was kind of just listening and doing some cross stitch before I logged on to work, and I've made decent progress. I'm 155 pages in. I have to say, I do not love it. I'm gonna keep going, even though this book is freaking chunky. It's like 500 pages long, over 500 pages long. But yeah, this basically follows the March sisters. There are 4 of them. They are living in the US, and this was published in the 1860s. So they're living in the US at that time. Their dad has gone to war, and I think they used to have money, but now they're very poor. And basically, the sisters just complain about being poor all the time. Well, not all of them, but like each sister kind of has like a different flaw that's kind of explored. So Amy is the youngest. She's a brat. She only thinks about herself. Beth is just like very quiet and meek. And then you have Jo, who is she's got a very fiery temper. And then Meg, who's the oldest, she is like, she just wants to be rich, and she's really concerned about what other people think about her. Anyway, the thing that I'm not loving about this is that every chapter has like a life lesson. And all of the life lessons are, even though you're poor in terms of money, you're not poor in terms of like the other aspects of your life. So stop complaining, basically. And that's what every lesson, what every chapter lesson is. And I just wish that there wasn't a lesson every chapter. I'm like, I get it, and I feel like I'm being hammered over the head with it. It's fine, but yeah, I will continue reading that. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat my lunch. I'll see you later. Hello, good evening, happy Friday. I feel like it has been so long since I last spoke to you, since I finished Soul Searching. But that was literally Monday, and I spoke to you on Tuesday, and I'm like, what? Wow, that was 3 days ago, and yet I feel like this week has been so long. I'm so happy it's Friday. Anyway, that's not important. What is important is I finished reading Little Women, or at least I read enough that I'm counting it. I'm done. Okay, I'm done. Technically, I didn't quite finish this, but I can't take it anymore. Can't take it anymore. And so I just looked up a summary for the ending because I was like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to all of the Little Women girlies out there. I don't get it at all. This book was so boring. I think earlier I mentioned like that it was boring and that I like didn't feel super connected to the characters. Like I didn't really care about them. But if I started to like the characters, then maybe we could have a good time. But that didn't happen. And I don't know if it's partially because of the audiobook that I listened to. I listened to the Audible original, like slightly dramatized version. It's not an abridged version. It still has the whole book, but it's like dramatized. It has some extra noises. There are actors. And anyway, I don't know if it was because of that or what, but like I don't know. I did not like this at all. I would go so far to say I hated it. Is that too strong a word? Genuinely, no, I don't think so. This is like one of the worst books I've read this year. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's not a 1 star. It's not a 1 star, but it is going to be a 2 star. And I don't get it. And what I really don't get is my favorite book of the year has been my favorite book of the year since I finished it in March, and it has stayed in that spot, is Hello Beautiful by Anna Napolitano. I'm so sorry. I talk about it all the time, but genuinely my favorite book of the year. Such an amazing book. I think it's I'd have to reread it. I was gonna say maybe it's now one of my all-time favorite books, but like I'd have to like let it sit and see how I feel in a few years after I've reread it, because I will reread it because I am a rereader. But yeah, I would say that that's like, it's definitely my favorite book of the year and has potential to be an all-time favorite. And that book is like inspired by Little Women. It follows 4 sisters. They don't have a ton of money. And then there's one guy who's like really important to the family, just like in Little Women. And yeah, I loved that book so much. So I'm just like, how can this book have inspired that book, but that book be fantastic, this book be so boring? But I guess it's like due to like when they were written. Like this was written in the like 1860s, I think. And that was written in like, I don't know, a few years ago. So, you know, big jump there. I don't know. I just never felt connected to it. I never felt like I liked any of the sisters particularly. I genuinely feel so bad because I know that this is a beloved book. So you know what? We're not going to harp on about it anymore. It was a 2-star read. It is one of the worst books I've read this year. Here we are. We finally read it. It's done. It's off the TBR. The TBR is getting really low. It's getting really low. We've got 2 episodes left and I can start something new tonight. Oh my God. This is so exciting. Anyway, I'm gonna go because I am rambling and now I can start something new. Yay. And full disclosure, I have actually finished another book in this week, but it's not important. It doesn't even count towards my TBR, like physical TBR or anything. It's just a book that I was already reading and I finished it. So I'm back, baby. This reading slump is gone. I demand for it to be gone. So yeah, that's another reason why I'm just like, I can't push through, because I'm like, if I actually keep listening for like the next hour that I have left, first of all, I already know what happens. And second of all, I don't want to go back to a slump. I've been fighting for my life for like 2 months to get out of this slump. And here we are. So it's done. We're done. We're over. I'm gonna go. Talk to you later. Hello. It has accidentally been like well over a month since I finished the last book for this vlog. And I was editing this a few weeks ago. And it took me ages to edit as well because it was very long. But yeah, I was editing this a few weeks ago and then I was like, oh my God, I never came back to wrap up the vlog. So that's what we're here to do today. Very late to the game. I'm just gonna quickly wrap everything up and say goodbye. Obviously, I read 3 books in this video and I DNF'd 1. So we started with Chain of Gold, which had been on my TBR the longest and actually was my favorite. And I gave that one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Then I tried to read She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. It had been on my TBR for 2 years and unfortunately I did not enjoy that one, so I DNF'd that one. Then I read Soul Searching by Lila Sage, which was a surprise. That was not supposed to be part of the video, but we read that anyway. And I gave that 3 stars. It was a little bit disappointing, but I have hope for the rest of the series. And then, of course, we read Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. And technically, I didn't finish it. I was close to finishing it. And then I just decided to spoil myself because I couldn't face reading the last 50 pages or whatever, because I really didn't like that one. I gave that one 2 stars. So yeah, those are all of the books for this video. Episode 7, 8, I can't even remember what episode we're on of TBR Tackle. Obviously, this is continuing continue on into 2026 because you're going to be seeing the video in 2026. I will be continuing this on and maybe revamping it. Yeah, we will be continuing on into 2026. So sorry that this video has taken so long to come out, but things have just been super busy. So yeah, apologies about that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give a thumbs up. If new here, feel free to subscribe down below, and please let me know your thoughts on these books down below, or just let me know what books you are putting off. That's all for me. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye.